Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we'll see who Mama is. One of the most interesting, chilling, and quite memorable spectral entities is the ghost of Edith Brennan, better known as Mama, which appears in the 2013 film of the same name. This film was written and directed by the talented directors Barbara and Andy Muschietti. It was also produced by the renowned director and master of fantasy and horror cinema, Guillermo del Toro. Mama is quite a powerful and terrifying entity. She is essentially the vengeful spirit or ghost of a woman who suffered from mental health issues. Because of this, one day she tried to escape from the psychiatric hospital where she was interned with her baby. However, she tragically passed away, which led her to wander relentlessly through the forests near the lake where she died, searching relentlessly for her child, whom she believed to be lost. Eventually, she encountered two young girls, whom she adopted as her own daughters. This is why Mama became such a dangerous being, brutally and mercilessly attacking anyone who crossed her path. Due to her interesting and tragic story, how powerful and macabre she is, and her chilling and memorable design, Mama is considered by many fans of modern horror cinema as one of the best ghosts and monsters of the past decade. In this video, I will explain in detail the history and origins of Mama. To do so, I will provide a complete summary of her story in the film. Then, I will explain her physical appearance, what we know about her personality and behavior, and her incredible powers and abilities. I will also talk a little about the production of the film and how Mama's ghost was created. Originally known as Edith Brennan, Mama is the ghost of a woman with malevolent intentions and some supernatural powers. This specter serves as the main antagonist and one of the most important characters in the 2013 film titled Mama, directed by Andy and Barbara Muschietti and produced by the master of monsters and creatures, Guillermo del Toro. The story of this terrifying entity is very interesting and begins long before the events we see in the film. Mama was originally a patient at the St. Gertrudis Psychiatric Hospital during the 1800s. Edith Brennan, as she was called in life, suffered from some kind of mental disability, which can be inferred from her physical appearance and actions. Interestingly, the film never explicitly reveals what condition she suffered from. However, thanks to some comments by the Muschietti brothers and fan theories, we can arrive at this conclusion. Edith manages to escape from the psychiatric hospital and stabs a nun who had taken Edith's baby, a girl named Lily. Although the nun was caring for Lily, Edith kills her and runs off with her daughter, not wanting her to be taken away. Thus, she manages to escape, but she is pursued by the authorities. Tragically, she ends up at the edge of a cliff in front of a large lake. With no real escape, Edith, desperate, jumps off the cliff into the lake, hoping to land in the water and escape with her baby. Unfortunately, as she falls, Edith hits her head hard against a tree branch. Although this doesn't kill her, it injures her severely and leaves her unconscious. While unconscious, Edith drowns in the lake, and her baby also tragically dies due to the impact of the fall. However, the baby doesn't fall into the lake, but lands near the base of a tree trunk at the cliff's edge, causing a quick death. Due to this tragic and unfinished situation, Edith transforms into a vengeful ghost. This mainly happens because of the intense emotions of sadness and regret she felt at the time of her death, as she never knew where her baby was or why she wasn't with her in the lake. These feelings of horror and pain cause Mama to manifest as a physically deteriorated woman, with many parts of her body and limbs forced in a grotesque and unnatural way. It is implied that Mama has been searching the nearby forests where she died for centuries, trying to find her baby's body. However, the baby's corpse was found by those chasing her and removed from the area. Mama's long and desperate search ends when she encounters two young girls named Victoria and Lily, who are in a cabin about to be killed by their crazed and deranged father. The film reveals that a very disturbed businessman named Jeffrey killed his partners and his estranged wife because, after the 2008 financial crisis, he lost everything financially. For this reason, after killing them, he decides to take his 2 young daughters, Victoria, 3 years old, and Lily, 1 year old, away from their home. While driving recklessly and somewhat dizzy, Jeffrey loses control and crashes when the vehicle slips on the ice. After the crash, he takes his daughters and brings them to a small abandoned cabin in the woods. There, he plans to kill them and then take his own life. Fortunately for the girls, Mama appears at that moment and stops Jeffrey, killing him brutally by breaking his neck. From that point on, Mama Spectre begins to care for the girls, adopting them as substitutes for her baby, whom she was never able to find. 5 years after these events, the girls are found by a search and rescue team funded by Lucas, the brother of the deceased Jeffrey. When the girls are found, although they are alive and in generally good health, they display very primitive, animalistic, and wild behavior. For this reason, they are temporarily placed in a clinic under the care of psychiatrist Gerald Dreyfus. Mama's presence is typically noted by the large black moths that appear. Although in some cultures, black moths or butterflies represent and symbolize something positive, such as a favorable change or a kind of rebirth, they are generally associated with bad luck and death. In a very interesting and symbolic way, the moths in the film represent something in between these two concepts: change and death. This is because Mama, or the spirit of Edith Brennan, is going through some kind of metamorphosis, reaching her final form in the climax of the story. Interestingly, the moths also symbolize that Edith is dead, and her presence indicates the bad luck that will befall those who interfere in her path, as she will attack, injure, and even eliminate them if necessary. Additionally, the presence of this ghost causes electrical problems when she arrives at a location. Mama plays with the girls and takes great care of them, but she hides and doesn't allow anyone else to see her. Victoria always takes off her glasses when she sees Mama and tells Dr. Dreyfus that Mama won't appear if someone else can see her. The doctor theorizes that Mama might be some kind of alter ego or an alternate personality of Victoria, created as a mechanism to cope with the trauma of being left alone in the forest. During the course of the film, we see that Lucas, the girl's uncle, is injured by Mama when she pushes him down the stairs in his house, leaving him in a coma. Because of this, his girlfriend, Annabelle, is forced to take care of the 2 girls. Gradually, Victoria begins to develop and behave like a normal child. However, Lily does not manage to adapt and retains her primitive and wild nature. This is explained because Victoria was a little older when she was abandoned in the forest, which allowed her to develop certain social skills, unlike Lily, who was too young. Throughout the story, Mama manifests in the dreams of various characters, including Annabelle, Lucas, and Victoria. Victoria explains to Dr. Dreyfus that Mama showed her in a dream what happened to her. Over time, Annabelle begins to grow fond of the girls, and Victoria starts to prefer Annabelle over the specter she calls Mama. Interestingly, Lily remains completely loyal to the specter. Annabelle quickly realizes that there is a malignant presence surrounding the girls, and begins to suspect that the stories about Mama are real. At the same time, Victoria starts to fear Mama, as she says that Mama becomes very jealous of Annabelle. On the other hand, Dr. Dreyfus, who has been in contact with the girls and Annabelle, begins to theorize and believe in the existence of Mama. This is because in several hypnosis sessions he conducts with Victoria, he realizes that the girl knows things she shouldn't, considering that she lived isolated in the forest for so long. The doctor also has an encounter with Mama, who appears to him on one occasion. For this reason, he begins to investigate Edith, the psychiatric hospital where she was interned, and what happened to this woman. Eventually, he manages to find Mama's baby's bones, and begins to suspect that the abandoned cabin in the woods, where the girls were found, is the place where Mama's specter is most connected. Dreyfus decides to investigate the place, but unfortunately, he is killed by the vengeful spirit. Later, Annabelle comes across the doctor's investigation and discovers Mama's motivations and why she is so attached to the girls. Meanwhile, Mama manifests and brutally attacks the girls and Annabelle. During this attack, Mama impales Annabelle with one of her fingers in the back, which seems to momentarily absorb her life energy and causes Annabelle to faint. At the same time, the girl's aunt, Jane, who had been watching the house because she suspected that Lucas and Annabelle were physically abusing the girls and wanted to take custody away from them, enters the house upon hearing the commotion caused by Mama's entity. Jane is fully possessed by Mama, who uses her body to take the girls back to the cabin. Eventually, Annabelle wakes up and decides to go look for the girls at the cabin. Before doing so, she takes Mama's baby's bones. Annabelle heads to the cabin along with Lucas, who had woken up from his coma shortly before because the entity manifested in one of his dreams. It is here in the cabin where they find the lifeless body of Aunt Jane. However, there is no trace of the girls. Annabelle looks at the cliff from which, according to the story, Edith jumped to her death and remembers the warning that ghosts are beings condemned to repeat their mistakes over and over. For this reason, Annabelle realizes Mama's intentions and how she wants to jump from the cliff again with the girls. Before they can jump, Annabelle and Lucas stop Mama, who quickly attacks them. The attack stops when Annabelle gives Mama a special box containing the bones of her dead baby. This causes Mama to start crying and prepares to jump from the cliff with her baby. This act also changes her physical appearance. Mama appears as a beautiful, normal woman. However, when she is about to leave, one of the girls screams, causing Mama to lose her human form and transform back into a vengeful, spectral spirit. In her new form, she attacks Lucas and Annabelle, taking the two girls with her. Annabelle, however, manages to stop Victoria before she jumps, and it is here that Victoria asks Lily not to go with Mama. Lily, crying, tells her that the three of them should be together forever. It is then that Lily jumps with Mama from the cliff, and both disappear upon hitting a log, transforming into blue butterflies or moths. This is how the story of Mama's vengeful spirit ends, as she finally obtained the remains of her baby and an adopted daughter who will accompany her in death, thus breaking the repetitive cycle that tormented her. Now that we've thoroughly covered the story of Mama, I want to talk a bit more about her physical appearance, personality, and abilities. Interestingly, we can consider Mama to be a good mother, as she takes relatively good care of Victoria and Lily. She even plays with them and is the reason the girls managed to survive for 5 years in the forest. However, on some occasions when Annabelle interferes, Mama becomes very jealous and unstable, trying to protect her adopted daughters and violently attacking anyone who tries to intervene, thus showing her malevolent side. Originally, Mama was a thin woman with a normal appearance and build. However, upon becoming a ghost, she transformed into a skeletal creature with gray skin, broken and twisted joints, and long, thin fingers that appear to be claws. Her pupils have lost all color, being completely white with a bluish tint, which gives her a ghostly and terrifying appearance. Here is your text translated into English with spelling and typographical corrections, while preserving the meaning. Although it is important to note that she does have pupils in her eyes, they are often not visible, especially when she attacks her victims or becomes angry. She also has hair, which is completely black and floats with her in an ethereal and terrifying manner. Because she died in the water, Mama wears a simple black dress with no print, which is somewhat worn out, just like her hair and body. As a ghost, Mama possesses some very interesting and terrifying abilities that make her an extremely difficult entity to defeat. First and foremost, as a spirit, Mama cannot die in any conventional way and seems to be immortal. Similarly, this entity cannot be harmed in any way. No physical attack seems to affect her. She can float and move with great speed due to her ghostly nature. Additionally, Mama has the ability to possess certain people, and through them, She can perform actions that she is unable to do in her ghost form. Curiously, although she is a spirit, she can cause physical harm to the people she attacks. For example, she can push them with force or lift them effortlessly to break their necks. She also possesses superhuman strength and speed. One of her most interesting abilities is her capacity to manifest in different ways, allowing her to remain hidden. In the movie, we can see that Mama takes the form of black moths that accompany the girls while they play or draw. She is also able to create a sort of portals that allow her to move easily to different locations at will. These portals appear on the walls of certain buildings, such as the cabin in Lucas and Annabelle's house. Another interesting ability she has is her ability to absorb the energy from normal people by touching them. She uses this power to dispose of Annabelle and Lucas on different occasions. When someone is affected by this ability, they momentarily lose consciousness, their color fades, and their skin becomes very pale, giving the impression that the victim has died for a brief moment. Her final ability, which is well explained in the movie, is that she can induce dreams in the people she chooses, showing them her story, as she does with Victoria and Annabelle. The most terrifying and dangerous aspect of this ability is that she can use it to deceive people. For example, she induces a dream in Lucas, where his brother tells him to go to the cabin in the woods to rescue his daughters. She does this so that, when Lucas arrives, she can easily kill him. The film Mama is based on the 2008 short film of the same name, written and directed by the Muschietti brothers. The short was quite popular among people at the various festivals where it was shown, and both Andy and Barbara Muschietti were constantly asked by audience members, whether they were regular people or critics, about the story of the short. Why did those two little girls call the entity Mama? Why were they so afraid of her and ran away from her? This made it clear to the Muschietti brothers the great potential their short film had to eventually become a feature film. Guillermo del Toro was impressed with how well the short was made, the cinematic techniques they employed, and the grotesque and creepy creature they presented. According to del Toro, it was truly terrifying, and when he put himself in the place of the protagonist girls, he imagined encountering something like that when he was a child. That thought terrified him deeply, and he saw something very special in the short. Quickly, del Toro reached out to the Muschietti brothers and assembled a team to bring the short to the big screen. That's why he hired veteran screenwriter Neil Cross, and over the next 2 years, the Muschietti brothers and del Toro, along with the screenwriter, worked on conceptualizing the story until they created the final script. By early 2011, they began hiring the cast, including the then lesser-known Jessica Chastain, among other actors. Filming began in October 2011. Something very interesting is that Andy Muschietti told Guillermo del Toro that he wanted the plot to unfold in a neighborhood and a regular house, but also wanted to make the audience feel that something rotten was there. Mama was portrayed in her different forms by various actors. In her beautiful human form, she was played by Hannah Cheesman, and in her twisted and spectral form, by the talented Spanish actor Javier Botet. Botet has brought many modern cinema monsters and creatures to life, such as the Crooked Man from The Conjuring 2, the Protomorph or Neomorph from Alien, Covenant, some of Pennywise's more grotesque forms, like the woman in the painting, and more recently the monstrous Dracula in Dracula, Sea of Blood, or The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Prosthetics and makeup were applied to Javier Botet to make his face more resemble that of actress Hannah Cheesman. However, most of the stunts and movements of the Twisted Ghost were performed by Botet, taking advantage of his incredible flexibility and acrobatic skills, delivering a truly chilling performance. Almost all of the ghost scenes were practical, except for the hair, some movements of the dress, and certain facial expressions, which were enhanced with CGI or computer animation. Andy Muschietti wanted to give the creature a more ethereal touch, as if it were a being that is present but not fully there, which is why the ghost has a somewhat translucent appearance. The final result is, in my opinion, quite amazing and memorable. I think Botet's performance truly gives that macabre touch to Mama, making her appear as an extremely frightening entity. That's all we know about the malevolent entity known as Mama. I believe that deep down, Mama wasn't initially evil. She just wanted to get her baby back. However, after her death, the agony and desperation to find him transformed her into an evil ghost, capable of doing anything to protect her two adopted daughters, showing herself as a very jealous and furious entity. This film was produced by the master of monsters, Guillermo del Toro, after he saw the short film created by Andy and Barbara Muschietti. Guillermo del Toro, known for his talent in the genre, did a great job of believing in the Muschietti brothers and their project. Moreover, he took creative control and helped bring the film to life that everyone wanted to make, giving it a bittersweet ending, a bit darker than other endings in similar films. Honestly, I think Mama implemented the concept of vengeful ghosts very well. In many other films, ghosts stop being scary because they aren't given enough significance or abilities that make them dangerous to humans. I love the design of Mama. Although it's relatively simple, it's very terrifying, especially in the way she speaks and moves. The film in general is really good, and if you haven't seen it yet, I truly recommend it. While I've covered part of its story here, the truth is that it's a terrifying experience that's worth living through for yourself. I think the movie masterfully captures the essence of the original short film. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you already know about Mama? Did you know her story and origins? Lastly, what do you think about the concept of Mama? Do you think she is a terrifying ghost or not? Comment below with your answers and your overall opinion about this vengeful ghost known as Mama. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. If you liked it, please give it a like and share it to support the channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos.